Today's episode is brought to you by Microsoft Dragon Copilot, your AI assistant for clinical workflow. Kristen, this thing's amazing.
It is.
It eases administrative burden.
Check.
All right, you want that. Definitely. Automatically documents care.
Check.
It streamlines workflow. We mentioned that.
Check.
And also just promotes a healthy patient-clinician relationship.
Check.
We need things that do that.
That's right.
Especially this day and age. We need more of that. Learn about how Dragon Copilot can transform the way you work. Visit aka.ms/knockknockhi. Again, that's aka.ms/knockknockhi.
Knock, knock, hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock I with me, your host, Dr. Glockenflecken. This is your one-stop shop for all things eyeball related. It happened again today. Had a patient call in, asking to make an appointment with Dr. Glockenflecken. Now they just accept it. We used to tell, at least my staff, we used to tell the staff, like, okay, when that happens, just correct them, tell them that they're actually making an appointment with Will Flannery, the real person, my real name. Now we should just change it on the website. I am no, like, who is Will Flannery? What a ridiculous name. It makes much more sense to call someone Dr. Glockenflecken. Like that's just much harder to say. I don't know. People just I'm just Dr. Glockenflecken now. I'm really starting to consider legally changing it. Although that sounds like a lot of paperwork. I'd have to change a lot of things. And so maybe not, but it would be defensible at this point. So I hope you're having a great day. I want to just start off by giving you a piece of advice that I've given before on this podcast, probably several times. But in light of recent events in this country, I feel like this is more relevant now than ever before. Here's a piece of advice I have for you. And this is when it comes to social media. Don't get fired. Okay? Like, don't get fired. I'm having trouble even thinking of one thing on that you can do on social media that is worth getting fired. Don't get fired. It's not a great job market out there, you guys. Like you have a paying job. Hopefully you can pay your bills. Don't lose that because you say something on social media. That's all I'm going to say. Just don't. I have a lot of advice. I give a lot of advice for people about posting on social media. How to post it, how to do it ethically, how to just be how to educate people, how to be funny on social media. I give all kinds of advice. This is maybe the most important thing. Just don't get fired. It's not that serious. It's not worth it. Don't get fired. And as a corollary to that, just realize that even if you think social media is not public in some ways, like direct messages or private Facebook groups, assume it's public. Assume it's public. It can still come back to hurt you. You don't know how people are going to take screenshots of what you say or do. Just if it's social media, regardless of if it's in a private conversation or on a Facebook group, you kind of have to, at this point, you kind of have to assume it's public. That might lead to you getting fired. There have been a couple times in my social media career that I'll take that back. I won't even say it. I've never been nervous about being fired. I have never said something where I thought I might get fired for this. And I have made fun of so many things. And now granted, when I first started Glockenflecken, I was anonymous because I was afraid that people my bosses, the people that ran the hospital, that ran my residency program, the chair of the department. I was afraid that they would see me as unprofessional, as someone who tells jokes on the internet. As a doctor, doctors don't tell jokes. Can't do that. So I was afraid, just generally, but not because of any particular thing that I said. I've never said something and had someone like say, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to reach out to your employer and tell them they should fire you. That's never happened to me. I guess the point is, like, you can tell jokes. You can express yourself. You can do lots of things on social media, but I mean, there is a line. And just don't get fired. That's all. That's all it is. Maybe easier said than done, but I don't know. It's hard. Everybody's line is a little bit different depending on their job. Like as a doctor, I have a different line than someone who's a comedian. I am also doing a comedy. I'm a kind of a comedian, but I also have this healthcare job. But if I was just a full-time comedian, my line's a little bit different, right? Than just a physician, or a teacher or something. So anyway, I've been thinking a lot also just recently about just how divisive our country is. Like when you go on social media, certain platforms are different than others, but man, right now, like it doesn't feel good to even scroll on social media. It's sad, and it's everybody's angry. And so I was thinking, like, what would it take to bring our country together? What would it take? And you would think that it should be something uplifting, right? Something that makes everyone happy, that brings us together in joy and just kind of happiness. I think we're beyond that. I don't think it's something. I don't think we're. And this is. I can be very pessimistic at times, but forgive me if I say that I don't think we're capable of being happy anymore. I'm generalizing significantly. I think, like, in general, sure, in general, we're trending toward unhappiness as a society. Individual people can be happy. You can be happy. Maybe you are happy. I'm mostly happy. But I think in general, society, we are trending toward unhappiness. So maybe we need to find something that brings us together in our unhappiness. Maybe we need to find something that unites this country in anger and dare I say hate. It's a strong word. Well, just leave it at anger. How about anger? Anger and unhappiness. What something that we can still do that because that's the way it seems like we all are these days, but we do it together. Now that's a very short list. It's a very short list. And actually, I think there's only one thing on that list. I know you think I'm going to say Visine. I wish that I don't think that it's not. People don't hate it enough. It's not. It doesn't really get to the center, right? The heart of the matter. Here's what I think could unite this country. Why can't we be united in our anger toward health insurance companies? United Healthcare. It's sitting right there, ready to accept all of our hate toward it. Why, like, can we all come together? Can we look past our differences in this country and just all be mad together at United Healthcare? Cigna too. They're no better. How about Blue Cross? I'll take whichever one you want. All of them, we can put them all together, come up with some kind of new word for them. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's what can do it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. I'm trying. I literally make videos where I use the health insurance company's logo. I copy paste their logo. I put it on a sheet of paper and I say that their mission statement is, quote, be evil. I haven't gotten fired from my job yet. So I think you can really push your limits when it comes to the health insurance companies. That's my point here. Maybe that can unite us. I don't know. All right, look, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just be lighthearted the rest of the time, all right? Because maybe we do still, I can still try to spread happiness and joy, even if maybe right now in the world we don't feel it. I'd like to at least try. And what more joyous thing is there in the world than eyeballs? They're beautiful. They're beautiful things. Every eyeball is beautiful. Every eyeball is unique. And it's allows you to see, which is the vision is the best sense that we have of the five senses. Clearly, vision's ranked number one. If we are ranking them, we all know how that ranking would go, right? Yeah, it's clearly it's vision, hearing, touch, taste, smell, right? Like what else could it be? Like some people might put taste a little bit higher, those you foodie people out there. Well, what are you going to supplant it with? Like if you can't smell, you can't taste. So you gotta have smell. I realize I might be trying to convince you not to do here a vision first, but vision has to be first. All right. I'm saying that just as an ophthalmologist, but also as just a lover of vision because I'm an ophthalmologist. Look, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, oh yeah, eyeballs and just bringing joy to the world. Okay, so here's what I'll do. This is a joyous thing. So I tried to pick only happiness here, happiness in this episode. All right. So other than the first 10 minutes when I talked about like hate and anger. So, all right. I thought I'd give an update before our first break about a patient that I presented to you guys that ended up having what's called acute retinal necrosis. So this was an elderly woman. She's in her 80s, I want to say. Yeah, 80, about 85, somewhere around there. And she came in with dramatically decreased vision in both eyes. And she had had a shingles rash like a week prior. I look back there and the retina is turning white. The back of the eye is turning white. That's never a good sign. That means there's no blood flow. That means there's at least a very significant lack of blood flow, decreased blood flow to the back of the eye. You don't want things to look white back there. And there was a ton of inflammation in the eye as well. And so when someone's had shingles, which is a herpes type of infection, a zoster, and this actually shingles, it's a zoster, but you want to what did I say? Did I say herpes simplex, herpes zoster? This was zoster infection. And when you see a dramatic decrease in vision in both eyes, shortly after that, you have to think that this is a virus which travels along nerves that got into the eye and now caused what's called acute retinal necrosis, which is as bad as it sounds. The retina is necrosing. It is dying rapidly. And so when she came in, she was hand motion vision in both eyes. That means all she could see in either eye was just a hand moving in front of her face. Called in the retina doctor. He saw her for a few weeks doing treatments, injections of antiviral medication, of other medications, try to control the inflammation, to try to clear up this infection, drops, oral medications, prednisone, all this stuff. And eventually did get control of it. But the question is always throughout this whole thing was, what is the vision potential? Because it's very poor prognosis. So then it was up to me. He had gotten the retina was stabilized. The problem was throughout this process, her cataracts, this patient's cataracts, which she's 85, so she already had pretty dense cataracts. The cataracts got even more dense. And so it was getting to the point where it was even hard for my retina colleague to see into the back of the eye, to evaluate the eye, to treat. And that's a good reason to do cataract surgery. If you can't see back there to treat it, well, you got to try to fix that. And the fix for this patient was getting those cataracts out. I was a bit nervous about doing this surgery because, when you've had a lot of inflammation in the eye, especially in someone who's 80, upper 80s, it can get a little bit tricky to do cataract surgery, but the surgeries went great. I saw her in post-op after the first eye. I did her worst eye first, the eye that was more affected by this acute retinal necrosis. I did that eye first. Didn't get a whole lot of vision back out of that eye. I suspected that might be the case. Even though the surgery went great, the issue was not the cataract really in terms of her ability to see. It was the damage in the retina that was limiting things. So I was like, okay, well, we tried, at least, we got the cataract out. Even just having a dense cataract can cause problems in itself with it can cause glaucoma, it can other things. So at least we got that lens out. We got the cataract out. We don't have to worry about that. Went to the other eye. We had a little bit more hope for the second eye. So we did the cataract surgery. Again, she was hand motion. She had a family member everywhere she went guiding her where to walk. She came back after that surgery and saw 20/50. 20/50. Now, just to give you a frame of reference, all right, 20/50 in one eye, as long as you have good visual field, qualifies you for a license to drive in every single state. Now, she's not going to be driving because she doesn't have good peripheral vision because of this disease. But 20/50, that is life-changing. That's going from hand motion to 20/50 when we didn't know if she would ever be able to see anything useful again. She was thrilled. There were tears. We were so excited. We had saved this woman's vision. And it made my week. And it's now been a few weeks and I'm talking about it to you guys. So it was, talk about joyous. Those are the things that that make me happy I'm an ophthalmologist. Everybody's got things like that in their specialty. Patients that you've helped, that you've saved, that you've improved their quality of life. And it just, oh my God, it felt so good. It felt so good. And I love my job. Sometimes I don't love it as much, but lately I've been loving it. And so I'm going to keep doing it. People ask, are you going to quit medicine and just do social media full time? No. Medicine informs my social media. All my content would not mean nearly as much as it does if I wasn't also in it, practicing medicine, educating people about the things that I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis, talking about the US healthcare system. It has more meaning because I'm experiencing it. I see the pain points. I feel the pain points, right? It just gives meaning. And it's, what more could we want from a career than something that gives you purpose, that gives meaning to your life? Sometimes it sucks. You'll hear doctors complain about their jobs all the time. I do it. What do you think my content is? It's glorified complaining. I'm just making jokes about it. But in the end, it's kind of what I'm doing. Because you have those moments, right? And if your job gives you those moments of joy, hold on to that job. Which means don't get fired. We're bringing it back. Let's take a break. Hey, Kristen, it's September. You know what that means?
Yeah, my birthday.
It's also Sepsis Awareness Month.
That's true.
We need to talk about a podcast that every clinician should know about, the Sepsis Spectrum. It's hosted by clinical care educator Nicole Kupchik.
It's a good one.
It is. Each episode is about confronting blind spots in sepsis and antimicrobial resistance education. A lot of this stuff doesn't make it into textbooks.
Yeah, and it's super important.
Yeah, you can listen to the Sepsis Spectrum wherever you get your podcast or watch it on Sepsis Alliance's YouTube channel. To learn about how you can earn free nursing CE credits just by listening, visit sepsispodcast.org. All right, how about some questions? Let's do that first, and then I got a couple of eyeball topics for you toward the end of the episode. So I posed a question recently. I asked people what they've learned from this podcast. From these, I've been doing these Knock Knock Eye episodes for over a year now. We have something like over 100 of these episodes. And so I wanted to know from people, What have you learned? Like, have you learned anything? Do you just listen to me ramble on and it goes in one ear, out the other? And I tell you, reading the comments that you guys have left, it brought tears to my eyes. It really did, because this I'm talking about on the YouTube channel at @Glockhamfleckens. That's where I'm seeing all of these. It was awesome to see what you've learned. So I was very curious. So I thought I'd share with the rest of you, maybe those of you who are joining us for the first time, but all of you, like what other people have learned by listening to these Knock Knock Eye episodes. All right. So this is one of my favorite comments from @Jason Hinter on YouTube, who is a non-medical person. He just listed out 10 things that he's learned. I'll just go through some of these. So the eye is in fact surrounded by muscles. That is correct. There are 6 muscles. One on top, one on bottom, one on the side, one on the other side, and then 2 other weird ones that are torsional muscles, the inferior oblique and the superior oblique, that help make your eye twist. As opposed to up, down, side to side, you need also to twist. That way, whenever you like tilt your head, you can still like see normally, and your vision's not doing all kinds of wacky things. So yeah, your eye is surrounded by muscles. He goes on to say he learned that nobody knows what a slit lamp is or how to use one. Yeah, I probably said that at one point, and it's mostly true. I'll give my emergency colleagues a little bit of credit. They know, outside of ophthalmologists, they're the ones that are most adept at using a slit lamp. Other than that, nobody else does. I agree, definitely. When in doubt, erythromycin out. I like that. I don't know if I've actually said that. I do. I am a big fan of erythromycin, though. It's one of my go-to antibiotics, along with when I'm talking topical antibiotics. Ofloxacin is my favorite eye drop. Erythromycin is my favorite eye ointment. And there's different reasons you would do different ones. Erythromycin makes your vision really blurry. And so that's a good one to use at bedtime. Like when treating dry eye is a good time to use that, because people don't have to deal with like an hour of blurry vision when they have that ointment in their eye. They just go to sleep. That's a good one. Let's see. Other things he learned. The eye puff machine is not necessary, but all optometrists have one. Maybe not all optometrists, but only optometrists have them. Ophthalmologists don't have them. And it's not necessary. It's useful. It gets an eye pressure check. It's just we have better options available. So yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to bring sunglasses when getting pupils dilated. Great advice. Those floaters are fine. Everybody gets them. Yes, floaters are a fact of life. All right. I wish there was a better term for them, but floaters works. What can be worrisome is if you have a whole bunch of new floaters all of a sudden, like what I call them, a big burst of new floaters, dozens of little specks of dust in your vision all of a sudden. That could be a sign of a retinal tear. But you have 1 or 2 or a handful of floaters that just kind of come in and out. You see them every so often. It's to the point where you barely even notice it. That's your typical floaters. But all of a sudden, a big burst of them, call your eye doctor. Here's one I got to correct on you, Jason. Macular degeneration and cataracts are as inevitable as death and taxes. Cataracts are definitely as inevitable as death and taxes. Macular degeneration, though, is not. Macular degeneration is a very common disease. By the age of 80, 1 out of 3 people get macular degeneration. So it's very common as you get older, but by no means does everybody get macular degeneration. But thanks for bringing that up. Be careful not to break the candy shell of the eye during surgery. I like that one. Yes, absolutely. The capsule of the cataract. You don't want to break that. I love that. I love that Jason here remembers that, because as a non-medical person, that will not help him in any way whatsoever, unless he's at a party talking to an ophthalmologist. That's a great question to ask. When was the last time you broke the candy shell of the lens? Totally fair question. Farmers seem to really like their safety squints, but not the metal shards and debris in their eyes. Safety squints, yeah, farmers love them. It's just very common. You do a little squint to try to decrease the likelihood that you're going to get a projectile in your eye. Rarely works. All right, these things, Projectiles, they have a mind of their own, and they're looking. They're like it's a homing system for your eyeballs. Promise you. So thank you for that comment. I appreciate that, Jason. Other things, at Evil Ginger 013 said, I have learned that when we stare at screens for long periods of time, we tend to not blink as often as we should. Exactly. Which makes dry eye even worse if you already have it. Definitely take breaks. 20-20-20. Every 20 minutes, take 20 seconds and look 20 feet away. That's that rule. What that does is it allows you to relax the muscles in your eye, and then it also stimulates you to blink. You're looking away. You're breaking your concentration. You're going to blink. 20-20-20. Every 20 minutes, take 20 seconds, looking 20 feet away. Let's see. What else? What else we got? Here's one. Another person said, I've learned that we are all going to have cataracts eventually. I realize I talk about cataracts a lot. It's kind of what I do. It's like a thing. I've learned more about issues I have because you explained it in better English than my doc. That's very kind. Thank you, Mr. Wheels 74. I appreciate that. I love it. People have learned a lot about LASIK. Let's see. At Amy Landry said, I tell my friends and family to listen to Dr. Glock. That's very kind. Thank you. People have learned about presbyopia. So at Jim Belter too said, I learned I'm developing presbyopia as I'm having difficulty seeing up close, and I wear glasses for distance. Yes, presbyopia, another one of those things that's inevitable as death and taxes. Yes, we will all, if we are fortunate enough to live long enough, you will suffer from presbyopia and cataracts. It's not really suffering though, because it's treatable. It's treatable, both of those things. Very, very treatable. I say that as I'm in 2 weeks, you guys, I'm turning 40. 2 weeks. Presbyopia is coming for me. It's coming. It's like death standing over my shoulder. It's like we need a death equivalent, but it's just the muscles wearing out in your eyes, your ciliary muscles, causing you to not be able to focus up close. We need a different character just to represent that, like mythologically. So far, this is at Renee Irina said, so far from listening to a lot of these episodes, I've figured out that I have visual snow and floaters. So yes, visual snow. I did an episode on that a while back. If you have, and this is actually, it's a very fascinating disease that a lot of people have, but don't realize that they have because they think it's just normal for them. But visual snow is if you feel like you have a subtle or not so subtle TV static to your vision, either most of the time or all of the time. Like there's just this background. I'm aging myself, but a lot of you probably remember when you could get like static on the TV. It's like that, but a little bit lighter. That doesn't prevent you from being able to see what you need to see. Like you can function normally, you can see well, you still have 20/20 vision, but you just have this kind of background static. That's what's called visual snow syndrome. And unfortunately, we don't really know why this happens or how to treat it. Fortunately, though, the vast majority of the cases are pretty mild. Like I said, doesn't really impact someone's quality of life, with rare exceptions. Those are very challenging patients, and they come in and are really bothered by that. A lot of counseling, a lot of reassurance. We do what we can, but research is ongoing and trying to figure out how to best treat those patients. Another person took the MCAT on paper. Unite, solidarity. And I think that's good for Q&A. So thank you for that. That actually reassures me. It tells me, okay, I should keep going with this because you guys are actually coming away with very important things, very important little clinical pearls, things that may or may not help you in your life, but hey, at least you learned them. All right, they're sitting in your hippocampus. You have successfully encoded it into your long-term memory, which makes me happy. All right, let's take one more break and we'll come back with an eyeball topic. Hey, Kristen.
Yeah.
I know that you love when I talk about the cute little mites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I thought we could take a break from that. Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
Yeah, because I'd like to focus on the eyelid symptoms and disease that an overgrowth of Demodex causes.
Okay, I like that idea. No, might talk.
So Demodex blepharitis, it often gets misdiagnosed or just missed entirely because a lot of symptoms overlap with other eye conditions.
Okay, so what are the top symptoms that people should look out for?
Usually itching along the eyelid margins, swelling, irritation, redness.
That sounds like it could be allergies or lots of other things too.
It could be a lot of things, but exactly. And the key is if your doctor spots crusties on the margin of the eyelid.
Technical term.
Well, we call them collarettes, but crusties is a good term. That tells you it's Demodex blepharitis right there.
Well, I really like that there's a clear sign to know for sure.
And once you're diagnosed, there's a prescription eye drop treatment available for this disease.
Ooh, that is good to know.
To learn about the common symptoms of Demodex blepharitis and more, visit miteslovelids.com. Again, that's miteslovelids.com to learn more. This ad is brought to you by Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. All right, one quick eyeball topic. This won't take long, but this is actually coming from a comment on YouTube from Sandra Odell 610 said, here's a question. Is there any truth to color blindness being passed down through XX individuals? So people that have two X chromosomes, and most often occurring every other generation. Absolutely. The most common, not every form of color blindness occurs in this manner of inheritance, but the most common forms of color blindness, which is red-green color blindness, is X-linked recessive. The gene that encodes your color vision in this way is encoded on the X chromosome. And so that's why males are most common affected, because if it's X-linked recessive, that means that you have to have basically all of your X chromosomes have to have the defective allele, the affected gene in order to manifest the disease. So let's say you have a woman who's XX and has one affected X chromosome and one unaffected X chromosome. That person is not going to be colorblind. They're not going to have it because their normal X chromosome is in charge, so to speak, and kind of takes it takes over the color vision. So the defective X chromosome, it isn't I'm not a geneticist, so I'm not using the right terminology, but you get the point. Like it's not expressed. The defective X chromosome has no expression. The normal X chromosome does. So let's say that person is married and has a kid. I guess they don't have to be married. They have a kid with someone who's XY. All right. And so the XX, the mother, passes down, let's say she passes down her defective X chromosome, and that combines with the Y chromosome from the male. So you have a child who's born XY. But the only X chromosome has the gene for colorblindness, has the defective gene. So that person is going to be affected. The women, the XX individuals that come out of those two people, they're at most going to have one defective X chromosome. So they're going to be carriers. So generally, the XX individuals are carriers, and they're the ones that can have offspring that are affected by color blindness. So yeah, it typically does skip a generation because of that. All right. So the color blindness in males will skip a generation typically. Good question. All right. And then the last topic I want to talk about is I had another comment that said, Halloween's coming up. Maybe we should get some spooky eyeball topics. So I've been thinking about it, and there's a couple. I could do like cobwebs in your vision, but we already did flashes and floaters. We did that last time. So I thought One we could do is bloody tears. Now, I might have talked about this before on the podcast. I don't remember, but this is a good Halloween related topic. Bloody tears. What happens when you cry blood? That's a disorder called hemolacria, a physical condition that causes a person to produce tears that are at least partially composed of blood. Now, this can range, and I've only seen this once before. It's not that common. It can be merely like mild redness, like blood tinged, kind of pinkish appearance, or these tears can be like frank blood, like entirely made out of blood. And usually it's indicative of a tumor. And when we say the tears are made out of blood, it's a little bit misleading because, yeah, you can have like a lacrimal gland tumor that can erode into, because your lacrimal gland is on the outside. It's up underneath your eyelid in the lateral third of your eyelid. It's hidden up there underneath the orbital bone, underneath the eyelid. So yeah, you can have an eyelid tumor. An adenocystic carcinoma is like the worst kind. Lymphoma, something that invades the blood vessels and causes bleeding. And so as you make tears, you can also like have blood come out of that. But hemolacria, typically, when people think about that, they think about tears or blood coming from the canalicular system, the drainage system of the eye, which is another place you can find it. So the blood kind of right where the tears drain, you have blood that comes out and kind of goes down your face. That's classically what people think of when you're crying tears. And so just to remind you the pathway of tears. So you make the tears from, you have your big lacrimal gland we just mentioned. You also have accessory lacrimal glands. These are smaller lacrimal glands. And they produce the tears, and then the tears, they travel over toward the nose, and you have a canaliculus, a punctum with an attached canaliculus that then drains the tears into the lacrimal sac, which you can't see it, but it's kind of in toward the nose. And then from the lacrimal sac, your tears drain underneath the middle turbinate of your nose. And so your tears actually drain into your nose, which then gets back and reabsorbed by the body. But again, this is why when you cry, your nose runs, because that's just your tears, which normally drain into your nose. You normally don't have a runny nose when you're not crying, unless you have some kind of upper respiratory infection. But when you're crying, you're making more tears than you need. And so that those tears have to drain somewhere. Some of them are going to go back in the back of your throat. Some of them are going to drip out your nose. But that's why your nose runs when you cry. So when you have hemolacria, you can have, as I mentioned, literal bloody tears being made from your lacrimal gland, or you can have something going on in the rest of the drainage system that's causing you to bleed. One of those things, and the one that I've seen before, and probably the most common one, is what's called canaliculitis, which is an inflammation of that tube, that initial tube that drains from the eye surface into your nose. So you can have inflammation in there, and you have like a really inflamed part of the body. You can have bleeding, if you rub it, or just the severe enough inflammation can cause some bleeding to occur. That's not that serious because you can treat that with an antibiotic. Usually it's an infection that causes that. Sometimes there's like a stone stuck in there, and you got to go and have like a minor procedure to cut it out. So there's lots of different reasons that you can have that. Some other causes of hemolacria, that's more on the inside part of the tear drainage system, would be if you're on anticoagulants. That obviously this can happen. If you have any tumors of the lacrimal sac, again, part of that tear drainage system. You can have a melanoma of the lacrimal sac. You can also have a melanoma of the conjunctiva just right around that area that can give you what look like bloody tears. So any kind of malignancy, and that's the most important thing to rule out. When someone comes in with this problem, you have to look really hard for any sign of malignancy. It's not normal. You should not have spontaneous bleeding without any kind of trauma, without any medications like anticoagulants, or even with anticoagulants. You have to look into this possibility. So that means doing a careful examination. Sometimes there are certain, you can do irrigation procedures. You can collect fluid, send it to the lab, collect that blood. See if there's any sign of, first of all, infection, but also any sign of neoplastic process. And so it just takes some investigating to try to figure that out. Sometimes you have to do a little nasal endoscopy. Look in there. Is there some kind of tumor hanging out in the nose that's causing blood to back up in the tear drainage system and come out of the punctum and spill down the face? So hematuria is something we take seriously, very seriously. We got to look for a reason. We got to figure out why that's happening. But then once we diagnose it, surgery, sometimes radiation. If it's a tumor, we'll treat it for you. But yeah, that's hematuria. That's your spooky diagnosis of, maybe we can do in October, like a spooky diagnosis of the month. I don't know. There's lots of spooky diagnoses that are even like more spooky. Maybe I'll try to find something that's not like sad spooky, but like spooky scary. That doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'll workshop this. Let's figure out some kind of an October theme that we can do for the 4 episodes we have in October. But that's it. That's Knock Knock I for the day. Thank you all for joining. I am your host, Will Flannery, also known as Dr. Glockenflecken. Thanks to our executive producers, Aaron Courtney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brook. Editor and engineer is Jason Pertiza. Our music is by Omer Ben-Zvi. Don't forget, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. I would love that. All right. Give us a like. Give us a comment. I read all these comments today from the YouTube channel. All right. Go check it out. I'd love to see what you have to say about this episode, about ophthalmology, about eyeballs, about me, whatever you want to say. We really, really appreciate that. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Knock, knock, goodbye.
Hey, Will,
Hey, what's up?
I've been thinking the U.S. healthcare system, it needs some improvement.
Yeah, there's room for improvement. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's a confusing, scary place for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Physicians, families, patients, everybody.
Everybody. And I've experienced it from both sides, right? I'm a physician. I've also been a patient. So I wanted to use my platform to give people practical education, really the only way that I know how, by making jokes. So Dr. Glockenflecken's really fun and super uplifting guide to American healthcare is out, and it's a free resource that includes all my videos from the 30 Days of Healthcare series, alongside deeper explanations, also reliable facts, emphasis on reliable.
Yes.
All right. Figures, numbers, insights into how each of us can fight for a more humane, better healthcare system. Also, it has jokes.
Did you mention the jokes?
I did. Jokes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely jokes.
Well, this guide is great for anyone looking to learn more about U.S. healthcare, but especially if you are experiencing it from the clinician side for the first time.
That's
We
right.
really hope you'll check it out.
Get the free guide sent straight to your inbox by signing up for our mailing list, glockenflecken.com/healthcare. Enjoy. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts, or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Hope you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.